Hello and a very, very good evening. We are back live streaming once again. Unfortunately, yesterday we had a bit of an episode of Richard Branson. Very good of you to keep us off the air, Richard. Maybe next time you could give us a little bit more notice and we won't all gather and get ready and then discover that Virgin Media doesn't actually work. But never mind, because I think that's what most of the country discovered at the same time yesterday. So it's great to be back live again tonight. We're going to share some stories, some inspirations, hopefully some photos out with you, and just really kind of get together and have a bit of a chat tonight. So I'm really looking forward to it. I thought I'd start off this evening with a bit of piano music, as I always do. So this is a short piece. So there we are, ending up in G major on a Tuesday evening. There's a very musical, nerdy thing to say. I'm going to name pieces by their keys, which I think from now on I'm going to start doing. Actually, I'm not. I'm just going to start making up as I go along, as I always do, which is what I enjoy doing, really. And it's kind of the whole point of this program is kind of to get together and share stories and just come together. Really, it's been keeping us going. We've had a really eventful few days here, actually, behind the scenes, and it's nice to kind of come together again. So I can say a very good evening to Peter. It's lovely to see you, Peter, tonight. Now, if you haven't caught on to this, you haven't been following Peter's personal pages. It was Peter's birthday. Peter, exactly when was it your birthday? It was on.
It was on Friday. I noticed
Friday.
You deliberately weren't having a session on Friday, so I was able to creep away and not be noticed. So
We thought we'd give you the evening off, really, to have a party and.
Very considerate of you. Very considerate. It was lovely. Yeah,
What did you
so
get for your birthday, Peter? Because last night you started showing us a few things, and unfortunately we couldn't stream out live. But
yeah.
I saw some very good glasses happen to pass by.
Here we go. Birthday
Oh,
glasses.
look at
Yes,
that! They're
useful
awesome.
birthday glasses. And I also showed you, but they haven't seen on here, my dad coffee mug, which I mean, that might just look like an ordinary mug close up too, but it is actually a large, huge one. And you don't get the scale of it. It's kind of like small, far away, large, near at hand. Yeah, no, it was a very eventful birthday, and I enjoyed myself. I spoke. Well, we had a sort of virtual party online, which is kind of how I like it. Um, the nice thing about a virtual party is you can go home whenever you like, or you can send people home.
You're meant to stay out until 4 in the evening, not 4 in the night, Peter. You're not meant to go home early.
Yeah, no, well, I was quite happy to stay at 4. It's just I like to do that on my own. So,
Well, what I'm building is a virtual list of what we're going to do once lockdown is over. Celebrate your birthday and celebrate my birthday. I saw there's somebody else in the room that I'm looking around trying to work out whose birthday we actually need to celebrate as well. I'm sure there's somebody else's we've missed.
Paul, didn't Paul have a
That was it.
birthday?
Yes, Paul, you missed you. Yes, it was your birthday the other week. So I think when
Yeah.
we come out of lockdown, we should have a mega party.
Well, if we have lockdown for a whole year, then we actually get everybody's birthday. So we might as well just hang on until everybody's had their birthday, and then we'll have a giant party for everybody. But,
I did read an article in The Guardian over the weekend that said that one of the biggest dangers that we're going to face is when we do end up out of lockdown is that we're going to go, basically all go on a massive bender. And this is going to be a real issue for a lot of people because we're going to party too hard too soon.
well, I can't speak for you, Richard, but I shall continue my genuine abstemious ways, as won't affect me one way or the other. So
Fair enough, Peter. But I mean, I am keen that I have got to get away tonight very promptly so I can get around to Sainsbury's and get a nice bottle of wine because the local Tesco Express, it just doesn't cut it. So I need to pop down there and
yeah.
stock up, actually.
What a problem.
I know,
What
it's terrible, isn't it?
What a problem you have. Yes, let me say, what would sort of the one or two things I noted over the weekend, the effect of lockdown. Yesterday walked up to Shore Road at Sandbanks, which I could do in my exercise time along the prom. And it's a spring tide. So I noticed it was very, very low tide in Poole Harbour, and at Sandbanks, the tide goes right out, and it just leaves a sea of mud. And I noticed that the whole thing was covered with little worm casts, absolutely covered in them, because normally you'd get an army of bait diggers out there digging up the lugworms for to go fishing. But of course, there is nobody bait digging, and there's just a massive worm casts all over this, which I thought it was something that was worth noting. I also noted this morning, whilst I was walking round the West Cliff, which is where I live, apart from the sea, I mean, the sea you can hear all the time, day and night, forever. You can hear the wind in the trees, you can hear the birds, and the birds are kind of giving it full bore this time of year because it's spring, so pigeons, a lot of greenfinches. For some reason, we seem to have a lot of greenfinches in our woodland up there. But I noticed how far human voices were carrying, because there's nothing to compete with them in the way of traffic or background noise. And I could hear people talking quite easily right across the green, which I suppose could be up to about half a kilometre, 400 or 500 metres. You can hear people just talking normally to each other. So that's nice. Well, is it nice? Yeah, it's nice. The rest, the ear rest we're getting is very, very restful. I'm finding this whole thing very restful.
It's true. Sorry, you were going so beautifully there, Peter. That was fantastic. Because you're right. It is really restful, and I have to say that you kind of you're waiting for something to happen, and quite often it's not. And then after a while, you think, do you know what? It's actually nice that something's not happening. Well, for example, yesterday it wasn't yesterday. It was Sunday because now it's Tuesday. On Sunday afternoon, we watched a guy collecting. It must have been cockles and mussels. Out on the seafront, and he must have spent a good couple of hours collecting them. And that would have been normally. I don't think I would have paid much attention, to be honest. And we actually watched him for a good couple of hours, and then watched him sort of take all his cockles and mussels up and collect them, put them in the van, take them off. And it was really quite interesting.
So was he a professional cockler or just somebody doing it for?
Because there is all the yellow overalls on.
Right, because there's a big industry in Poole Harbour, in cockles and mussels, and they get crated up and sent away to Holland. They have those big Dutch boats on the quay that go out trawling for cockles, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, talking of Poole Harbour, I've actually got a picture of Poole Harbour on the screen now. This is a picture I think I took a couple of years ago. It was a sunset that I took, and I thought this was quite a nice image really to go with. I don't think the image is going to come up actually after all. I did see it fleetingly appear there, but it seems to have disappeared again. We'll see if we can bring it back. I think. Lockdowns affected the screen over here, which is a bit of a shame. But maybe I'll be able to bring that back and segue back to that in a bit, Peter. And then I'll show you that. But you're absolutely right. There's a budding industry out there of fishermen and people that you don't really think about, to be quite honest. Oh, lovely. There we are.
I
think we might be able to see it in a moment. There's the image, and that's that was a sunset that was taken of Poole Harbour, and we use it a lot in some of the material that we send out at Conical Sphere. But to be honest, I just thought it was a really nice photo. Anyway, it quite often looks like that on the front, which is really quite stunning.
I mean, Poole Harbour is an extraordinary place. I mean, as we all know, it is. There's a great debate about whether it is the largest natural harbour in the world.
There is no debate, Peter. It is definitely the largest.
Whether Sydney Harbour. But I think depends who you talk to. But it is large in area. But what's amusing about it, because I have spent some time on the harbour, is how 90% of it is only that deep.
I know, right?
You can kind of walk about in the harbour quite easily, apart from, and then you get these huge holes in the mud which go down, 20 metres or so. And of course, the shipping lane, which they keep dredged. But it is amusing when you see people just get out of their boats and just walk.
Well, I don't know if you've seen, but the Sandbanks ferry. So we've got a ferry which covers between one side of the harbour and Studland Bay, and forms a little link. They've taken that out of action. Obviously, it wasn't practical to keep it going in lockdown, but they've installed that in Poole Quay, and that's the first time I've ever seen that be moved around and stored like that.
Oh right. Oh, I see. They've actually taken it off the chains.
Yeah. So I should have said that. It's a chain ferry that they've got.
Yes. Oh, well, that's interesting. But I mean, they do. I mean, that ferry. I mean, it's had such a checkered career over the past year because if you remember, it broke down, and then they took it off to Southampton, and didn't have the right part, so it was off for months and months and months, and they had the annual shutdown anyway when they shut it down for repairs, and then we get this. I mean, the it's hardly been on. I mean, it's if you live in Swanage and work in Bournemouth, it's the sort of main thoroughfare. It is actually a roadway, and for people who work in Bournemouth, it's a bit of a nightmare. Although, I suppose at the moment people generally aren't going from Swanage to Bournemouth.
Well, I think that's the point. But I found it interesting because it is a going business. It's not like it's a publicly funded organisation. So there's all these people going, you can't take the ferry out of action. You should be doing this. And I think, well, do you know what? I mean, it's surely it's up to them. I mean, they're
apart from that, I don't know the whole thing, but I do know it does count as a public highway, because when they put the fares up, they have to get an act of parliament to put the fares up every year, because it is from that point of view, it's an official highway. I think. I don't know the whole story, so please don't quote me on that, but I do. So it's kind of a bit odd, and it is owned by a firm who have their headquarters in Essex, I think. And I think there is a certain amount of feeling in local people that maybe it's only a small part of a big business. So.
Well, maybe I'm covering up a giant corporation, but
yeah,
I like to think of the world like
that. I think the whole thing about the ferry is very political in this part of the world.
I know it's great.
And there are people who get very anxious about it. So it may be a good idea not to talk about it anymore, because you'll get heated correspondence going.
Brilliant. Well, so if you're out there and you're wondering what's happening with the Sandbanks ferry, don't ask us because we don't know.
Basically,
but we'd love to find out, because I'd love to know a bit more about that. So if you do happen to know the backstory behind the Sandbanks ferry, drop us a comment and let us know a bit more about it, because we'd like to know. It sounds interesting. And obviously, if anything does happen, we end up being held up in court or anything is evidence, it was everything that Peter just said and nothing that I said.
Yes.
What he said.
It's amazing though how when you get into a local community, how important some things like the ferry are, and the ferry is very important to a lot of people, and it does. It's part of a way of life for a lot of people. A lot of people need it. Although it is possible to go right round Poole Harbour by car, if you're going from Swanage to Bournemouth, but it's quite a hike to go that way, and it's much easier to go across the ferry if you're rushing for business, providing the ferry is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, but I can see that Sam has sent over a picture of the ferry. So I wonder if we could either share it directly from the green room. Don't know if that's possible or not. There we are. There it is. And was that the ferry coming in? Sam, was that? Did you capture that on the day it came in?
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Stephanie took this picture. I'm
Oh,
merely the facilitator.
brilliant. Oh, so Stephanie caught it on the way in. Fantastic. Maybe I can jump across to Stephanie then and ask her about it. Better have. Stephanie, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
So
Yeah, I saw every so often I look out of the window and there's the Sandbanks ferry out of action being towed across into the harbour. Uh-oh, no ferry today. But this time I caught it on camera.
nice one. I wonder if we can see that image again? It's really quite striking because you don't. In fairness, you don't often see it come off the chains and into the quay. It's not like an everyday event.
The second time in a year I've seen it off.
It's not bad. I mean,
There it is. It's being towed. It's being towed by tugs, and it's moored up by one of the super yachts.
Yeah, that's the biggest irony is that it's next to the £100 million boat in Poole Quay.
That makes the condors look tiny.
Wonder how many Sandbanks ferries you could buy for the price of a super yacht.
Quite a few, I reckon.
But I'll just come back a minute because I'm going to jump across and ask Stephanie about a couple of other photos that she shared in. And she sent these pictures in yesterday for us. And the point of this program is definitely to share some images and share some pictures and inspirations and things that you kind of just and you'd like to talk about. So this is a picture, and I'm going to come to Stephanie and ask her a bit more about it because I don't know anything about these pictures, but I'm interested to find out. So if you'd like to send in an image or something that you've got that's of interest, do drop us a comment or drop us a DM and send that image across to us, and you can come on the stream, talk about it, or we'll chat about it and see if we've got some views and opinions on it as well, because it'd be really good to do. It's a really good way of sharing different inspirations across what we do. And Stephanie, this picture that you've sent in, maybe you could talk us through it a little bit, because it's a spectacular. It's one of those photographs that has obviously been taken in a certain type of light, and that's what often makes a striking photograph is the light that it's shot in, especially in the natural world. So yeah, maybe let's just sort of share a bit why you shared this picture in.
I just love the colours in it, and it was from where we went on holiday to Telford.
Telford.
Oh, brilliant! So you took this photo?
I took this photo, and it was. Do you remember when we went on our holiday to Telford, of all places, that we landed up on that. We found that random stone circle on the border of Wales and Shropshire, which we could ever find again. It was just like a really random place. So do you remember there was like a road that at the bottom of that road there were a few houses, and some of them had like St. George's flags and some of them had like the Welsh flag, depending on what side of the border they were on. So I don't know that photo. I don't know if we were in Wales or England.
I don't remember, but I do remember the light because it was absolutely spectacular. It was
getting towards sunset, wasn't it? It was that it's that really beautiful light, and it'd been a really beautiful, crisp day, and it was in early autumn.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and not somewhere that we expected to come across going to Telford. We've been to some cracking holiday destinations, it's fair to say, on our UK tours. Telford. I think we did Cardiff, didn't we? Cardiff was
scary, wasn't it? Like, you nearly got beaten up by those homeless guys.
Yeah, I do remember that.
There were people that sounded like they were getting murdered underneath the window of the travel lodge we were in. And do you remember the police car chase when we were in the Italian restaurant?
Yep, I do. The police turned up outside the restaurant and chased the people down the street. And we were all there. He said, "Oh, I say, what a terrible thing to happen."
It was quite scary.
Brilliant. But you shared in another photo as well, and this is maybe you could talk us through this picture. I think I know where this is, but yeah, maybe you could tell us a bit about this one.
Oh, this is Land's End. This is when we went to Land's End. Do you remember? We were on holiday in Falmouth, and I said to you and Sam, right, I want to go to Land's End, and we've got to get there really early. I'm driving. I don't know why I was the designated driver for the entire holiday, but I was like, okay, if I'm driving, we're going to leave Falmouth by 8. And we're going to get there really early because it get really busy. And neither of you believe me. I remember neither of you believed me. And I was like, right, no, we're going. And we went to the right, didn't we? And it was really touristy. And I said, well, if we go left, there's some beautiful coastline and rocks. And that was left of the visitors centre. It was stunning.
It was actually. I remember that. That's where I took the other photo that I shared out a couple of weeks ago on quite a long shutter speed. And I remember stood on the side of the of Land's, well, looking down out of Land's End, and I think it took 120 seconds on the shutter to take the photo. And you're stood there going, "Come on, it's cold. Come on," and I'm going, "Just a couple more seconds to bring out the exposure on the camera."
If I remember rightly, me and Sam just carried on walking.
I think you did, yeah.
We left you. We waited for about half an hour, and then we just were like, do you know what? We'll just carry on walking.
I tell you what, I do have a bone to pick with you still about the because we went to there's a rock that we went to look at, and you sold this to us, and I will find a picture for tomorrow evening of this.
Yeah.
Unless you can find one and send over to Sam before the end of the stream. But what was the name of the rock?
Oh, Menontoul.
Menontoul. Now, Menontoul, right? Your mum has painted a picture of Menontoul, and it is it's like a giant polo. So it's this giant rock. No, it's not a giant rock. It looks like it's going to be really big. On all the photos I've seen, it looks huge, right? And it's a round rock with a round hole in the middle. And on all the pictures, it's massive. The picture that your mum painted in her house is huge. You know, it makes the rock look really, really big. Now, we travelled for an hour to go to it. You were going, this is going to be an amazing rock. This rock is the best thing I have ever seen. It's going to be brilliant. There we go. I can see Sam's found a picture of it. Right. This is a classic image of Menontoul. How big do you think that rock is? We can take a vote in the green room, actually. Peter, on a... roughly how big do you think that rock is that we're seeing there?
Well, I can see quite a lot of sky behind it. So I don't know, but 20 feet, is it anything like
20 feet? Yeah, we'll take 20 feet. Maybe I could jump across to Sam and see. Sam, how big do you think that rock is? Oh, he's got his mute on.
I reckon.
We got 20 feet from Peter. How big do you think that rock's going to be?
I reckon you could probably like a tire, like a nice tractor tire.
Oh, a tractor tire. So okay, so we're talking still relatively large. Maybe what's that? A couple of meters span? What, a metre and a half span?
Yeah, probably maybe come up to your head, maybe. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Paul, a very good evening to you. I'm going to ask Paul. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. Can you see this rock that we've got a picture of in the green room?
Yeah.
How big do you think it is? And you can gesture with your hands. You can give us a specific measurement. You can, just on a scale of 1 to X. How big do you think that rock is?
150 feet.
150 feet. See, I would. Yeah, I think that's a fair guess.
I think it's that.
All right. I don't know if I can bring Toby in. Toby, you're pretty good at guessing and sizing up things.
Quite tall.
How big do you reckon that rock is, Toby?
It looks like Sam's tractor tire. It sounds about right. Maybe a little bit smaller. It's hard because all you've got is grass and rocks that you don't know what the size is, so there's no reference.
There's no reference.
I found a photo of you and Sam stood by it, and I will send it over in a minute.
All right.
because you'll get a proper sense of the scale, but it's going to take me a while to. Here we go. I will send that over in a second.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to play a bit more piano music then, and we're going to come back and all will be revealed. And if you're watching tonight, I'd like you to comment. If you do know the true size of it, you're not allowed to guess because that's cheating. But if you don't know the true size of this Menonthol rock, drop a comment and see if you can guess how big it is. I'm interested to know what you think. And then all will be revealed in about 3 minutes' time when we show you the true scale of this rock. So, if you've been watching over the last few minutes, you'll know that we have been trying to guess the size of the Menonthol rock. Now, this is a rock that is down towards Land's End. It's a round-shaped rock with a round-shaped hole in the middle. I know this rock from Stephanie's mum. She painted a very beautiful picture, actually, of it, which she's got in her house. And I also knew it because there are lots of PR photos and lots of nice professional-looking photographs that have been taken of this rock over the last 20, 30 years. And it's quite a famous rock. However, I can hopefully now reveal what the true scale of this rock is. So I wonder if I can jump across to our green room. Peter said that the rock was 20 foot high. And Paul reckoned it was 150 foot high, which I think is a fair guess. That is quite a large rock, but a good guess nonetheless. Sam said that it was the size of a tractor tyre. So I'm intrigued to know the true scale of it. I wonder if we can pull that up. So here's the picture. And do we have the true? This is like one of those quiz games. Let's see. Have we got the actual size of it? This is the actual size of the rock. And I feel justified in saying that I felt a little disappointed by the scale of this. and probably knowing how important this rock is to various people, probably that picture's probably quite I don't know, probably quite controversial. I mean, Stephanie was the whole way through the trip down. She was really bigging this rock up. Oh, I can't wait to see this rock. It's the biggest. I was like, brilliant. It's going to be huge. And that was it. It also rained on the same day, which kind of added insult to injury, in my opinion. We did enjoy the trip. I just think it was sold a little bit too much. So there you go. There's the true size of the Menon's-Hole Rock.
How is it formed?
How was it formed? Let's go to Stephanie. Stephanie can probably tell us a bit more about it.
I think it was a Bronze Age rock, and actually, oh no, Stone Age. It's really, really old, and I just think it's amazing that they managed to get a hole, which is pretty even, into the middle of a rock without like power tools. So I think it's spectacular, even if it is small. And it's meant to be really good luck to go through the middle, which is why Sam went through the middle, even though it was really wet. And if I remember rightly, both you and Sam didn't have proper outdoor clothes on and laughed at me because I looked like a farmer, but I was dry.
I think that's fair.
Plus, I'd driven, so I figured that if I'd driven down to Land's End, I felt like I could go wherever I liked. Really, we went to Penzance, didn't we, on the way back?
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, and had a cream tea. So it was worth it, wasn't it?
Oh, it was definitely worth it. No, I mean, seeing all the photos, you've got to go and see it. Yeah.
I did send over a photo of both you and Sam looking at it like, you've just made me walk 1.5 miles in the pouring rain, and this is it.
Do we know whether the good luck actually worked?
Well, yeah, I think Sam's had good luck.
I'd say that Sam's had pretty good luck. I don't feel like I've done too badly out of it.
You didn't go through the middle, Richard.
Oh, did I not?
Only Sam went through the middle.
Oh, right, well.
I think, yeah, Sam's been... I think he's been doing all right.
Well, Stephanie, you sent over a couple of other photos, actually. And I wonder if I could show you this one. I wonder if you could talk this through as well for us. What's this photo all about?
Ah, lizards.
So yeah, so why the lizards? What's the again? Did you take this photo?
Yeah, I took that photo.
Oh wow!
I was on a walk with a friend down at Warbarrow Bay, and there just happened to be a couple of lizards sunbathing on the side of a bench, and I got very excited and happened to have my camera with me, because you don't ever get to see lizards that much, and in the soil where we round in Dorset and everything, they're meant to be quite common, but you don't get to see them.
No, they're certainly not a commonplace animal. I wouldn't have thought in the UK. Definitely, if you start to get to the Mediterranean, they become a bit more commonplace, but not around here as such. So I was quite surprised to see that.
I can tell you where to see them.
Oh, go on,
You
Peter.
can see them down on the down at Boscombe Pier, can't you? Or one of those down the shines.
We had a beach hut at Alum Chine, and all the sand builds up along the promenade along there, and there's just masses of lizards sunning themselves on the sand outside the beach huts. Outside every beach hut there's a lizard or a couple of lizards. So yeah, they are there, and they are quite obvious. It's obviously they come out when it's sunny.
Yeah, they like the warmth. They
like the warmth. So if it's a cloudy day, they'll creep under and disappear off. But there's quite a lot there.
You just don't get to see. I know there's loads around, and you just don't get to see them that much.
Yeah, you have to just quieten down. Just go slowly, and they're there. It's all this modern rush and bustle that does it. You don't see lizards if you're rushing.
So now lockdown, you'll be able to see more lizards.
Yeah. I bet they're down. I haven't actually been down and looked, but I bet they're all along there. So,
Well, I know Sam's just. I think Sam's got a couple of comments from Facebook, maybe that I can jump across to Sam and ask him what's. Do we have any people asking in? What's the deal, Sam?
We had a few guesses. I've seen them a bit belatedly. David guessed the size of that big party ring made of stone. He guessed 3 feet tall. Yes, and then Hazel, I think she knows how tall it is. She said 4 feet. And apparently, an interesting fact, it was used for curing rickets in children. They were made to walk around it, I guess, until their rickets were cured. I'm not sure how long it takes to, how many circles you have to do until it's keep it up until your rickets disappear, or whether it's just you do it once and could be a weekly thing. I'm not sure, Hazel, if you're still watching. You know how many times you have to walk around that rock until your rickets are cured. That's what I want to know.
I know, Sam. I feel slightly bad because I feel like I've taken the mick somewhat of this rock but it's all in how it's sort of sold to you in the first place, and I think that's what I think that's where I was coming from on this. So I think if somebody had said this is just taken and said what it was, and I discovered it, I think I maybe would have thought, oh, that's an amazing rock, because I do get where Stephanie's coming from on this whole. He says backtracking quickly. I do get where Stephanie's coming from on the whole, how they made a hole and how that is a very difficult thing to do and to stand it up. And I get there's a lot of skill involved, and it's one of those sort of mystery wonder things. So I do get that, and part of me does think that's pretty cool. The other part of me also thinks that if you set it out to be this massive, giant monument, like the pyramids of Egypt, and then you discover it is the size of a party ring, then you feel like you've been sold a little bit down the hill.
I agree. I don't say. I'd be disappointed. I think it's also it's its location as well. It's kind of maybe at some point when you had sort of less farm fields and everything. Sort of, I don't know. I'm picturing some sort of mysterious forest, and you come across this rock in the clearing. I don't know. It seems to now it's only got this tiny little patch of grass around it. It kind of seems a bit
incongruous, maybe.
Grand. Hey,
incongruous, maybe.
Incongruous. Yes, I like that word.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie's got one final picture to show, and like I said, so if you are out there and you are watching and you do have a picture that you'd like to send in and share, I won't take the mick on it. So I will genuinely be interested to see what you do send in, and let's have a chat about that. It's just that particular image that Stephanie shared, it then sparked sort of a particular memory that I had. But if you do have an image that you'd like to share or you'd like to talk about, or there's a concept that is in that image, do send it in to us, and we'll chat about it. Maybe something you see tonight might spark something, and you can kind of come back at us with a different image to show. But yes, do send that in, and we'd love to talk about that and to be inspired and to hear that side of your story, really. So get in touch, DM us or drop us a comment with that image in, and we'll include it in the stream. Stephanie's got one final picture that she'd like to share with us tonight, and this is I do definitely know what this is of, but I don't know the story behind it. And this is an image of a red squirrel darting. Well, actually, is he darting? He's kind of darting. He's definitely looking for nuts, I think. Stephanie, what's going on in this picture, and why did you share this?
I just thought it's. I was just really happy to be able to actually take a photo of a red squirrel, because again, they're pretty, like, sometimes they're really hard. It depends how many screaming children there are on Brownsea Island. Sometimes you don't ever get to see a squirrel because there's just too many people shouting and screaming. But that time, apart from you lot blessing the sea. It was quite a quiet island that day. And I remember I went with my mum, and we walked around the island, and we saw like 17 squirrels, and we sat down to have lunch, and the squirrels were literally trying to steal our lunch.
The red squirrels really are. They're really beautiful because they're slightly smaller, aren't they, than the grey squirrels? And they are really, really lovely animals, actually. But I think I'm right in saying that Brownsea Island is the last place in the UK with them, or is
No, you've got the Isle of Wight. I've seen them on the Isle of Wight. You've got places in Wales with red squirrels, like places like Pembrokeshire and on the edges. And then I've seen red squirrels up in Northumberland. So they're up in Northumberland and up in Scotland as well. Also, the Isle of Man has them.
brilliant? Because obviously the grey squirrels that came over and then decimated that population.
Not really. The grey squirrels have just got a disease that kills off the red squirrels. They didn't literally murder them.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, so
It wasn't like Squirrel War.
oh, well,
It's not their fault.
I think I did know that actually, in fairness, but I think I just hammed it up in my head a little bit. Oh, that's a shame. But oh yeah, I had this picture of these grey squirrels with giant pitchforks sort of attacking these red squirrels and chucking them off the island. But I know Brownsea Island is particularly famous for its red squirrels, isn't it? It's that's what it's known for. One of the reasons that people come.
Yeah. That day as well, there was someone dressed up in a full-size red squirrel costume, and I just came out of a path between two bushes, and I remember just standing going, oh, it's a squirrel, it's a giant squirrel. And this giant squirrel just came up and gave me a massive hug. I didn't know what to do. I did the very British thing of just stood there like, ooh, a squirrel.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting it at all.
well, you don't, do you? I mean, it's not the kind of thing that you just expect to jump out at you. Well, one of the things I was going to say, Stephanie, thank you so much for playing last Thursday. In fact, if you watched our live stream last Thursday evening, you would have seen Stephanie playing some tunes, some medieval tunes, and some Celtic tunes on the harp, and that was a really fantastic, a really lovely evening. Actually, really, really enjoyed that. And we're really, really lucky that Stephanie's going to be able to do that again this Thursday. So I might be able to jump across to Sam, who might be able to fill us in a bit more on what to expect on Thursday. Because I know, Sam, you've been talking with Stephanie and putting together a program with her, and you Toby, and Stephanie have been putting that together. So is there anything in particular that we can look forward to between you and maybe you and Stephanie could just fill us in a little bit on what you've got in store?
Yeah, so Stephanie is doing another unique performance for us. She's going to be playing some traditional medieval and Renaissance style pieces on harp. And yeah, so if you tune in at 6:30 on Thursday, yeah, then you'll be able to hear a lovely rendition of some medieval and Renaissance classics. I don't know if they're classics. There might be some classics in there. There might be some new ones that you haven't heard before. I don't know. It'll be some lovely harp music, and yeah, so you can tune in 6:30 next Thursday. I think I'll put the link to the previous episode in there as well, because that was a really nice one. Yeah, Stephanie, do you have any? I don't know if you can hear me. Do you have any? Can you tell us a bit about the types, the type of music that you're going to be playing on Thursday?
I'm going to be playing music from about the 1100s up to the 1500s. And it's all sort of European music that would have been, some of it's been passed down in folk songs. Some of it is actually, some of them have been made into hymns. And I remember singing the tunes at school during assembly, but other ones are ones that probably no one's ever heard of, but picked really pretty music. So some of the medieval stuff's quite I'd say it's quite difficult to listen to, but I'd like to change people's minds about it because there's a lot of it is very, very beautiful, especially played on the harp. And some of it's fun, some of it's dance music, some of it was, peasants' folk music, stuff that people danced to, and they had a lot of festivals and a lot of fun. So it should be good fun.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, really looking forward to that. It's going to be a real treat again because we definitely enjoyed it. So if you are around on Thursday evening, I believe that's at 6:30 until 7:30 for an hour of Celtic harp. Then on you can either tune in on 161 Light, you can tune in on Chronicle Sphere Music, or you can go across to Stephanie's page, Stephanie Liney Harpist, and listen and watch on that. And obviously you can find the video later on, so if you do miss it on the live stream, you can always just watch that again, and we'll do our best to share that out as widely as possible. So yeah, watch out for that. So thank you once again if you've been joining us on the live stream. Do send in those comments, and do send in images if you've got some inspirations you'd like to share with us. That'd be fantastic. We'd really look forward to seeing that and chatting about that. We'll be back again tomorrow evening, chatting from behind the piano, when again I'll be gathering some guests around behind the piano, and we'll be chatting and sharing some stories and just kind of keeping ourselves going, finding out what we've been up to during the day, and just just helping each other out. I'm going to end this evening with another bit of music tonight, so I'm looking forward to doing that in just a moment. But yeah, it's been great, just sort of sit and chat and find out what's on people's minds tonight. So I've really enjoyed that. So just to end tonight's stream, I'm going to jump across this piano and play some music from here. So thank you very much for joining us tonight on Behind the Pianos. It's been a really, it's been a nice chilled out evening. Actually, I've really enjoyed sort of playing some music, sharing some stories, seeing some really fascinating images that Stephanie's shared in, and we've been able to talk about those. That's been really fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen this evening. Do, like I say, leave a comment, drop us a DM if you've got any sort of feedback or stories that you'd like to share with us. And if you'd and do obviously tune in again tomorrow night, where we'll be doing the same thing again. So if you've got any stories or things that you'd like to share, drop them into us, and we'll get in touch, and we'll talk about them and share them out. So I've been Richard. It's been a fantastic chilled out evening from Behind the Piano. So have a really good rest of the evening, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. Thank you very much.